Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Summer here to talk about lesson 203, standard form of a line. In this lesson, students will be able to identify the x-intercept and y-intercepts of a line given the standard form of a line equation, and they will be able to graph the equation of a line given the standard form of an equation. You recall, slope is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 and rise, or otherwise known as rise over run. Remember, this is our y-axis, and the horizontal is our x-axis. So the standard form of a line equation. Remember, if you have a printer, you can print off a copy of these doodle notes. Otherwise, you can use the Cami extension to fill them in as we go along. So why do we use standard form? Standard form makes it very easy to pick out the x-intercept and the y-intercepts of an equation. And if we're given this form where we have ax, so standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c. And whereas a is a positive integer. If you recall from middle school, an integer is can be a positive or negative number, but it's not a fraction or a decimal. So in our standard form, we don't have a fraction as our coefficients. And then we have b is just an integer. So b can be positive or negative, and c can be a positive or negative integer as well. Okay, as you can tell, I can't spell integer. There we go. So a always has to be positive. So if you don't see it as positive, we have to multiply by -1 to get everything to be positive. So the steps for graphing the equation, a line while in standard form, is first we have to plug in 0 for y so we can find the x-intercept. And I'm just writing that as xint to save space. The next step is we're going to plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept. And then we connect our lines. So here's an example. 3x minus 4y is equal to 12. So we're going to plug in 0 for y. So we're left with 3x is equal to 12. So then 3x is equal to 12. We divide by 3. And x is equal to 4. So our x-intercept, let me change colors, is actually at 4, 0. So we can plot that at 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Now our next step is to plug in 0 for x, 0 for x, and we're left with 4y is equal to 12. So we do 4y is equal to 12, divide by 4. We get y is equal to 3. So our y-intercept is at the point 0, 3. We can plot 1, 2, 3, and then we just connect our lines. Okay? And if you recall, an x-intercept, it occurs when y is equal to 0, and the y-intercept occurs where x is equal to 0. So here's a question. Find the intercepts. Rewrite in standard form, then identify the intercept and x-intercept and y-intercept for each linear equation. So we need to rewrite this in standard form. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. I get negative 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 18. Then I'm going to divide everything by -1 so I can get my coefficient of x to be positive. So I'm left with 3x minus 2y is equal to positive 18. Then my x-intercept is when y is 0. So I cover it up with my finger. So we can, as a quick tip, you can cover it up with your hand, or in my case, my finger. So cover it up. So 3x is equal to 18. So divide each side by 3, and I get x is equal to 6. So my x-intercept is at 6, 0. And then I do it again, and I cover up my x as 0. So negative 2y equals 18. Divide both sides by negative 2, and I get y is equal to negative 8 or negative 9. So my y-intercept is at 0, negative 9. Again, with this equation, there's a couple steps. I am going to subtract 6x from both sides, and I get negative 6x plus y minus 4 is equal to 2. Now I need to add 4 to both sides, and I get negative 6x plus y is equal to 6. Now I still have my negative in front, so I need to divide everything by negative 1. So I get 6x minus y is equal to negative 6. Now we're going to cover up with our little finger here. I'm going to cover up y, so I get 6x is equal to negative 6. Divide each side by 6, I get x is equal to negative 1. So my x-intercept is at negative 1, 0. And then I do it again, and I cover up my 6x term, and I'm left with negative y is equal to negative 6. Divide everything by negative 1, I get y is equal to 6. So my y-intercept is at 0, 6. So if you recall, don't forget the standard form of the equation is ax plus by equals c. And a must be positive. B and c can be negative. So here's a better explanation of that cover-up method. So we covered up our 6x. We covered up the y term. So 6x is equal to 21. So I get 6x. I'm going to do it up here. I'm actually going to do it right over here. So 6x is equal to 21. Divide each side by 6. I get x is equal to 21 over 6. So my x-intercept is at 21 over 6, 0. Now, we can to find the y-intercept, I'm covering up my x term, and I'm left with negative 2y is equal to 21. So I can divide each side by negative 2, and I get y is equal to 0. So y is equal to negative 21 over 2 as the intercepts. So here's an example. It says graph the line. 4x plus 2y is equal to 8. So to graph the line, we need to find 2 points on the line. Well, this is already in standard form. So we are left with 4, let me do a different color. 4x plus 2y is equal to 8. So I'm going to cover up to find my intercepts. So I'm going to cover this up. So I'm left with 2y is equal to 8. Divide by 2, y is equal to 4. So the y coordinate point is at 0, 4. So now I need to cover up again, but this time I'm covering up my y term. So I'm left with 4x is equal to 8. Divide each side by 4. I get x is equal to 2. So my x-intercept is at 2, 0. Now I just plot those points. So I'm going to plot 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to plot 2, 0, and then I just draw my line between them. So here's an example. It says to write the equation in standard form. So I'm going to I need to get my standard form. And remember, my standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. Now, I want to preface this as this b is not the same b as in the lowercase b in slope-intercept form. They are not the same b. One's capital, one's lowercase, and that means that they represent two different things. So I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides, and I get negative 8x plus y is equal to negative 24. Well, I cannot have a positive or a negative coefficient of x. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. I get 8x minus y is equal to positive 24. I want you to try this one. Write this equation in standard form. It's in slope-intercept form, so then you have to write it in standard form. So this one's a little bit tricky because it's in point-slope form. So first I'm going to distribute this half to everything inside the equation. So I'm left with y minus 3 is equal to 1 over 2x plus 3, because half of 6 is 3. Then I'm going to subtract 1/2 x from both sides. So I'm left with negative 1/2 x plus y minus 3 is equal to 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I'm left with negative 1/2 x plus y is equal to 6. Well, I have to have a positive integer, which means I cannot have a fraction or a negative in front of x. So I need to actually multiply my whole equation by negative 2 over 1. And when I do that, I get a positive x in the front minus 2y is equal to negative 12. So remember, you cannot have a fraction, nor can you have a negative in front of x for standard form.